All right, what's up? Um, so I was thinking again. I'm gonna give a little bit of my testimony. I'm gonna tell. Um, well, I got a couple stories I missed, so I gotta talk about them, and then I'm gonna talk about tomorrow or the next day. Next time I do it, I'll talk about everything that God did to change my life, and today I'm gonna talk about things that God did to Bridget to change my life, especially since it's Valentine's Day on Sunday. And I could dedicate a whole devotion just to talk about her. But first, I was thinking of something. It's always bad news when I start thinking. And I was thinking, I think that I may have seen more posts about politics and shared posts about politics from Christians more than they've shared my message. And we're all asked to spread the good news. But I'm just explaining my hope. I'm telling the good news through my eyes. I'm not even asking you to say anything. I'm just asking you to share me telling the good news and explaining my hope in Christ. That's all I'm asking. I'm really just playing, just in case you don't know. But just in case you think I'm serious. But then I was thinking also, I was thinking about, well, maybe they just don't agree with everything, you know what I mean? So they're like, maybe, but I don't know if I agree with that. But when it comes to politics, they'll pick sides. They'll be like, well, I'm voting for Trump. And you bring up something like, well, I don't really agree with that, but I agree more with what he's saying than what he's saying. So I'll share the post, even though I don't agree with everything he's saying, but because I agree with some of what he's saying, I'll share the post. But they can't show but if you disagree with just a little thing, you think, I don't know, but you can't share my post because of that. But you can share about politics. And I'm talking about God. Makes you think, huh? Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange? Then we walk in and be like, the same people sitting in the same pews doing the same things for the last 20 years. It's like Cheers, you walking in, everybody knows your name. You know right where they're sitting, because that's where they've been sitting for assigned seats. Man, I want to walk into church, don't know any of them. I want to walk in and be like, well, I might find somewhere new to sit today. Heck, I might have to stand because I'm late. I might not even get in. You know what I mean? So there's a disconnect. Because it's hard enough to share the gospel to people and to explain our hope to people. Heck, we won't even share someone else explaining their hope and sharing the gospel. That's weird. I'm joking, kind of. I really thought that, but I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not. I'm joking, but it could be a fact. I might be talking facts here. But I just thought it was odd that I was thinking that. And you want to know what else? It's kind of odd that I'm going to talk about Bridget today, and in 2020, and basically start 2019 is where my story is starting. In 2020, so a year before 2020 hits, a year before all these things happen that change my life, the year before the world starts to change, and the year where it's like love is at an all-time low. There's battles between races, there's battles with politics, and love's at an all-time low. But the year before that, in 2019, God was teaching me about that exact thing, about his agape, unconditional love, the good news. And he was delivering me and teaching me this at the same time, the year before. And now here I am, the year after it, in 2021, explaining how to overcome these issues. And I'm telling you exactly what God told me. I went as far as I'm telling you the story, because remember why I'm telling you this story, why the testimony started. I'm telling you the testimony because we were doing every chapter and we were talking about it. I got to Romans 7. In the chapter, Romans 7 and 8 changed my trajectory. So I didn't want to mess it up. And God said, well, just tell the story the way I told you, the way I showed it to you. Give it the exact way I gave it to you. So in order for you to see what I seen in the moment and for me to understand what God was saying to me in the moment, I brought you through my story. So where we could arrive to the same point. So I could tell you the good news. So I could tell you about God's agape love, his unconditional love, and his grace, his unmerited, unearned, undeserved favor. That's what all this is about, right? So all I'm really doing is asking you to share a message about God's agape love. And I'm explaining to you how I know this and why you can trust that what I'm giving you is the good news. Because I have something wrote down, so I'm gonna read it. Well, first I'll start my testimony first. So it's Valentine's Day on Sunday, and this important event happened between me and Bridget that happened kind of in the middle of the journey. Like I heard that one song I kept hearing every day when I walked in from work, and then the person playing it. This was the beginning of God starting to work on me. And then like a week later, me and Bridget are talking. But no. Hold on. We'll get back to the story. I got in the midst of before 2019 came, Leland had died. 2 of Bridget's grandpas have died. Alexis busted her hip, had to go in the hospital for like a week, and we had to carry her around and take care of her. She broke her hip. She went to the emergency room. They said nothing was wrong with her. She went home, and she was with her dad on the weekend, and they had taken her to the hospital, and they told him nothing was wrong, so they brought her home. But then they called us Sunday morning because she wouldn't stop screaming, and of course Bridget went and picked her up, see what was wrong, and Alexis at that time was like a drama queen. Everything was over the top. So we thought, well, maybe she's being over the top. But dude, when you heard her scream, and I'm talking about every second, every movement, every little thing, scream, you knew something was wrong. So we had to go through that. And God used that moment as well to speak to me, and I heard him loud and clear then. But those events were significant, and really, the thing with Alexis was really was a really, I'm sure, traumatic event, a big event for her in her life that time. But it was for me as well. Now, mind you, some stories I've left out because not everything's for public consumption, and there's other people involved in the story and other perspectives, and we're not that I'm concerned about other perspectives, but I'm concerned about the other people in the story, and I don't think it's fair just because I want to be vulnerable and tell my story that I have to make everybody else be vulnerable as well. So I've left some details out of stories and some stories out for the sake of that. And I'm sure sometime in my life I'll feel led to tell it in its entirety, but I don't really feel like it's necessary to tell the story in some of these stories for you to understand what I'm saying. So it's not worth me damaging relationships or hurting people or getting people upset or mad for no reason, because I can tell the story and get to the same point without including that. And I would rather keep those relationships than sever them over stories, because you can still see God's agape love and his power anyway. So remember everything that's going on before. Now we're moving back to Bridget. So I was in a cycle of I would relapse, be depressed, relapse, be depressed, relapse, be depressed. This whole entire cycle of this, and of course, you deny everything. So that's just what I would do if I got a question. Just deny it. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good. You know, typical when you're struggling with something. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. Too afraid of what others will think. You know what I mean? So not once did I mention that I was struggling in church. I wouldn't even admit it to my wife. So obviously I'm not going to admit it to the church. And it's not like anybody came up and asked me directly or anything like that, but I wasn't able to be vulnerable like I am normally, which is probably a sure sign of something being up. But I wasn't vulnerable in that area. And my reasoning for not being vulnerable could be based on a lie, for all I know. My reasoning was that they will judge me. They will, everything that I say after that about the word or about the Bible, once they know that information, everything that I say after that won't matter. It'll be deemed irrelevant, not important, hold no water, and that these people would basically disconnect from me if I gave this information. So I kept the information to myself, didn't even tell my wife. And then finally we were at a park and we were doing a Bible study, I believe, and she looked at me and said, I know you're going through something. It almost makes me cry just talking about it, because the power, that's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand, the power of it. Gosh. She said, no matter what you go through, I'm not going to leave you. We're going to fight it together. But you got to be honest so I can help you, so we can fight it. And let's just remember, before this event, there's things that I would do, or where people on the outside would look like she's being ignorant or she's being rude or she's being controlling, because they don't know all the details and they don't see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? So they think they think that she acts crazy, but really she like, if you knew the whole story, if you've seen the entire picture, if you knew all the details, you wouldn't throw those stones, you wouldn't say those things, you wouldn't think those things. Your whole perspective would be different if you knew all the facts, if you had all the details. Because she was really protecting me. And then when she would get hit with these stones, or get hit with these words, or get hit with these things, she wouldn't say, which is so easy to do. She wouldn't say, well, I'm doing it because he doesn't have no self-control, and he doesn't. And she could have done all that and point the finger at me, but she didn't. She took it. She took it, and she took it for the sake of me. See that? composure here. So we're at this bench and she says these things where I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to go away. You know, basically saying, and I was thinking this the other day, that when I was young and I used to hear people's wedding vows, I would think, yeah, right, for richer, for poor, for sickness and health, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? We're out. Soon as money's gone, we out. Soon as someone gets sick, we out. Soon as somebody does something wrong, we out. We're done. It's over. It's a wrap. We out. So when I heard those vows, I thought, yeah, right. Those people ain't gonna last. But on that day, when me and her got married, I believed them. I believed those vows. I believed it when she said it in 7th grade. And I don't know why. And I don't know how, and I can't explain it. But I knew. I believed her when she said it. When she said, I do. I believed it was for sicker, or for health, or richer, or poor, or whatever the words are. I believed it when she said it. And I believe it to this day. And what I'm telling you are the things that helped solidify that poured confidence into the cup, that built that faith for me to know that, for me to be so confident in that. There's these little events that happen. I'm showing you the same thing with God. There's these little events that happen that showed his agape love. It's the same. And as God's teaching me this lesson, he's using my wife to physically express that lesson. Man, come on, man. This is good. This is insane. Either I'm not telling the story right. You know what I mean? Because this is the whole good news. This is what I'm talking about. So when she said, I love you, no matter what, I believed it. And on that day, something changed with the stuff that God was showing me, which is what I'll do. My next testimony will be on that, on the stuff that God was showing me in the middle of this. But this is the wife this is my first love. And we went our own separate ways when I started to do wrong. When I followed the wrong. And then God delivers me. We meet back up and we get married, and he starts restoring to me everything that the enemy took. And then I get myself caught again by being an idiot, by not seeking first his kingdom and his righteousness, by not doing that. I got myself out in left field somewhere, and my wife comes and gets me and says, I got your back no matter what. And just like Romans 38, which is what God was teaching me at the exact same time, nothing can separate you from his love. And that's on that day, that's the same thing. She looked me dead in my eyes and said that. Nothing will ever separate our love. Nothing. And I believed it. And I still believe it. And the power in that moment, the power that would rearrange your whole thought process, your whole thinking on everything. And how God was orchestrating it because he so loves us. Man. See, I understand real love. I get it. I didn't. I just now got it. I've been married for 10 years. I've been reading the Bible for 12. And just this year, I finally got it. I finally understand it. I finally get the good news. I finally understand it. And I'm not saying the good news isn't preached. But I'm just saying that for some reason, we're not receiving it. We're not understanding it. We're not getting it. We're not seeing it. We're not hearing it. We're not feeling it. And I'm telling you, it's because we're missing the details. And I'm telling you the details. It changes your whole outcome. It changes your whole view. It changes your whole perspective. The picture will be much clearer. you'll understand. I got stories to tell about his love in detail. See, and it's the same story with the thing with Bridget, as she was taking shots from people that just didn't know the bigger picture. They just didn't see the bigger picture. They didn't know the details. And because they didn't know the details, they had the wrong perspective. And the wrong perspective causes you to think wrong, act wrong, see wrong, feel wrong, think wrong, react wrong. So I'm telling you, just as God did to me, I'm telling you the story on, I think we might have got the wrong perspective. Or not that we got the wrong perspective, but we're missing the details. And the details matter. And the details will change your whole perspective about the picture that you're looking at, about what you're viewing, what you're seeing. If that makes any sense. Oh, I know it makes sense. I don't know why I'm questioning. Dude, that's good. His love, man, it's crazy what he does. I'm just trying to explain my hope. I'm just trying to tell you about God's love. I'm just trying to tell you what he's done, what I've seen, what I've witnessed. Yeah, share, like, I don't know. Just share it. Just spread the gospel. That's all I want to do. I just want to share God's love with people. I just want to tell people how, why, when, where, why God loves us. That's all. Hey, have a good weekend. Hey, and I hope that you have a Bridget in your life. I pray that you have a Bridget in your life. It changes everything when someone just loves you so unselfishly and loves you. That the question of this isn't gonna work, or the question of not being together doesn't even exist. Doesn't even exist. That's agape love. I got the good news for y'all. And if you don't agree with all of it, just make sure you don't share a political post that you don't completely agree with all of. That's all I'm saying. Because when I was told to vote, it was, we'll vote for the lesser of the two evils. What? I don't even understand that. That tells me there's categories of sin now. See, it's the wrong perspective. It's the wrong view. You don't know the details. Let me fill you in. Hey, it's all about agape love, I'm telling you. If I had to put a name on all this, that would be the name. Agape. A-G-A-P-E. Agape. Google it. I'm out.